Hi guys, so to cut to the point, I was watching an episode of Drop Dead Diva, episode 1. I've never really watched it before. I've heard about it, but this is the first time I actually watched it. And in this episode, it was about the movie is about a woman that died, two women that die simultaneously, one getting shot, the fatter one that happens to be a lawyer, and one getting crashed because she was not watching the road. That was a model wannabe, and this model wannabe goes to something like purgatory, clicks a button, falls back to earth, and enters the body of the fat woman Jane, Debbie being the woman that enters the body of Jane, right? And now lives the lawyer's life, blah blah blah. The movie is not bad so far. It's quite a good storyline, so I'm not gonna take a shit on it for that. However, this woman with a new life after surviving the gunshot, quote unquote, right, goes on to live as a lawyer, right, in another woman's body. So Jane, what the lawyer is called, okay, although she's being possessed by the spirit of Deb, the wannabe model, has a case about a man whose wife died in due to pharmaceutical drug, and she wants to represent him. Allegedly died due to pharmaceutical drug, or might have been killed because of depression. Who knows? Nobody knows, right? But then a second case is the one I really want to talk about, because in a second case, she was dealing with a woman that was trying to divorce her husband, and the woman's name was called Vicky Warner. I remember clearly, hopefully. So if you're looking, because I would drop the link in the description below, so if you're looking for where that actual clip is, apparently YouTube will not let me upload the slice of the clip. If anybody knows how to get around that, I'll be grateful. But so I can post the video that I made earlier, because YouTube will not let me upload the clip. But if you're looking for where that instance was in, it will be in 19.03 to 19.45. That's the duration where this clip was in. And in that clip, our assistant, that is Jane's assistant, the lawyer, the protagonist, was telling her about the case, and she said this guy is making $5 million a year, and he cheated on this woman with her dog walker, so to speak, and he signed a prenuptial agreement that she can only receive $100,000 if they divorce. But there was a clause that if there was infidelity, then that money she'll be open to a resettlement. I can't speak today, sorry. She said that when this woman signed a prenuptial agreement, which stopped her from receiving more money, this Jane, the main character, right, goes on to say, well, that's because she's an idiot then for signing the prenup. I'm like, what? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me that if a woman wanted her husband to sign a prenup if anything goes wrong to only get a specific amount of money, actually tell me that woman is an idiot, you will have that same feeling? Because to me, it seems to me that there is more, trust me. That if a woman goes ahead to say, I don't want to give up all my money or half my wealth to a man, that's good. But if a man says, I don't want to do it, then all of a sudden he's not being a good person. Anyway, so this woman said, anyway, due to the clause, we can renegotiate for her to get half of the man's wealth. Now, notice the man's wealth is $5 million. And half of $5 million is $2.5 million if you can do quick math. So she was like, we can renegotiate it to get half the guy's wealth, which is excessive, because because by my calculations, unless you have worked for 50 years or close to 50 years, let's say for 45 years as a homemaker / childcare individual, that's the only way you get to make up to $2.5 million or at most $3 million. You don't get to make that if you have not worked up to that amount of time. And clearly she didn't. So, and even at that, she is still not even liable for that. But now the question is, so why is it that the movie is mentioning this? And not only are they mentioning that, they're attaching an emotion to it. As if this guy's a piece of shit for cheating, which he is, right? But then because he cheated, now she deserves half of his guy's wealth, which is terrible logic, right? It's terrible logic. Cheating you do not prosecute based on cheating, you prosecute based on splitting. Okay? You don't get, but unfortunately today's system has been weaponized, and that gets me to my point of this video. Today's systems have been weaponized whereby people are trying to use the court system for revenge, not for justice. Okay? And you can watch the clip. Remember, the point I talked about where this particular clip is and the other clips is from 1903 to 1945, right? That's for the first clip. Now, moving on to the second clip. And this really breaks into my point, right? In the second clip I'm going to be talking about, and the second clip is from 20.00 to 21.04. In this second clip, again, I repeated this from 20.00 to 21.04. That's the duration of where you can find this clip in the link that I'm going to post below. Okay. In this second clip, she's trying to convince the woman to press charges because apparently, unless she testifies, she's not going to be able to get, an increase in that amount of money, which is $100,000 that the husband tried to give to her as a settlement for her to just go and get a job after she divorces him through the prenuptial agreement, which, by the way, is a good idea, despite how the movie is trying to twist it in this particular situation. So now they're talking, and this woman's like, but you have to testify. And then the reason she gives is like, you can't allow your, and I quote, piece of shit cheating husband, I think that's what she said, that's a paraphrase though, but she said something like that, to get away, we just gave you $100,000. I'm like, but that was the agreement, right? So now you, in this kind of movie, and behind it you're playing sentimental music, you see this woman is uplifting her to receive what she's worth, which she's not worth that, but that's what the movie is trying to make it seem like, and that's how propaganda works. These kinds of movies keep doing this over and over and over again, whereby they try to push a nonsense idea, through propaganda. It's not that there are some good propaganda out there, but for bad propaganda like this one, it's highly effective as well. Right? So in sense, and then when she was like, yeah, but she promised that she didn't want to press charges. I'm talking about the wife now. She didn't want to press charges. She just wanted to make a little bit of a settlement, which I'm thinking would be around 200,000, I guess. This woman, the lawyer, tells her, and I kid you not, how much do you think you're worth? Because if you don't think you're worth anything, then why should he treat you like you're worth something? Now I'm like, well, good speech, but that's not what we're talking about. Okay, she's not worth $2.5 million. But then the woman responds in this same clip, like, this is the reason she believes that she needs $2.5 million. And I kid you not, she was like, the first reason she said was, I took care of the kids, I gave up on my career and I raised the kids. Okay. And then, which are quite reasonable. Then the last one she said, I loved him unconditionally, which is not a fucking reason. Okay. That means nothing. That's not quantifiable. That you're supposed to love your husband unconditionally, right? And the same thing is, the husband is supposed to love his wife unconditionally. If both of you refuse to do that, then you should be together. That doesn't mean the guy should be punished because he didn't love you unconditionally. It's just dumb. So we're going to ignore the last point. But then, okay, let's assume that you did all these things. You raised the kids and you give up your career. I mean that you became a homemaker. So homemaker is more like somebody that, if I want to find a job that is similar to that, I would say somebody that takes care of the house, cleans and the rest of that, cooks and the rest of that. Okay, let's look at that from that perspective. That doesn't mean you deserve $2.5 million. As I said earlier, right? If you're going to do those jobs, right, in real life, highest you're going to be getting is $30,000 per those jobs. So your homemaker, $30,000. That's the highest you're going to be getting in America. And what's the other one? And childcare personnel, which is also around $30,000 for someone that is very good in their job. I'm assuming that she's a very good homemaker and child rearer, right? Altogether, that's $60,000 a year. Okay, $60,000, and that's not median income. That is total professional, the highest paid roles in those particular fields, right? That is $60,000 a year if you're doing both of those. Okay. Now, if you calculate that, it will take you roughly almost 45 to 30 to 50 years to make $3 million. $2.5 to $3 million. So clearly they didn't live 50 years together. If you watch the movie, you would know that they didn't live 50 years together. And even outside of all of that, the most bizarre thing is that when she quote unquote gave up her career, well, he also took over all the expenses. When you gave up how much you could make to settle with him, guess what happened? It wasn't just on his butt. No, it took care of all the expenses. You were complaining that a man didn't take care of the expenses. He didn't give you money or whatever, blah, blah, yabba, yabba, yabba. You weren't complaining about any of that. You were saying, right, that he cheated. That was your logic. Your logic is the reason you're coming for a divorce is because he cheated. And you feel hurt because you gave up your career and you took out the kids. Well, you giving up your career means that he took up all the expenses. So why are you trying to get money for that? Okay, that's the first thing. Second of all, you raising the kids means he also took care of the expenses of that. So in essence, when you were living with him, it was paying you, if you really want to be sincere, it was paying you to take care of the kids, right? And paying you to take care of yourself, right? It was paying you to also, take care of the house. In theory, right? Because you are getting all the money that is providing for. You even have a dog walker. So I'm not really sure that you even had to do much chores, right? Because apparently he cheated with a dog walker. If you have a dog walker, that means you have a maid. Come on now. So you even paid for all these things where you're living with him. So why should he give you $2.5 million where you're no longer living with him? Because you feel like you're worth something, because you took off the kids, right? Because you cleaned the house apparently, or something like that, and you loved him unconditionally. Do you see what I'm talking about? But the movie is trying to play it as if she's a victim, and because he cheated, she deserves 2.5. That's what they're trying to push. This is the problem I have with this movie. They're trying to say that because he cheated, that she deserves $2.5 million. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And they're trying to make it seem like it's a good idea to do that. Now I know of a lot of men whose wife cheated on them, but guess what? The men still paid them to have their shit. It's funny, I don't see that kind of cases shown in movies these days. So the court system doesn't care whether the person cheats or doesn't cheat. The court system cares about the person that makes the most money and trying to split the money amicably. I can't speak today. Split the money fairly. That's what they care about. They don't care about cheating. And you might be like, well, they should care about that. Or really? You think they should care about cheating? Do you understand? Okay, so moving on to the next clip, and to further explain this point for those people that think that the money should be calculated based on who cheats and how wrong you are. For those people that think this clip is for you. The final clip we're going to be talking about in the same episode 1, in the same link in the description below, is going to be from 37.58 to 40.43, and that is 37.58 to 40.43. That is the duration there. Now, in that clip, the guy meets with her again, and now they're discussing how much he's supposed to, and he's trying to convince her not to go to court, and they make him look like a bad guy, whatever. I know that's what they do. In order to hate this person, they make you look like a bad guy. And the wife throughout the entire movie was looking like a humble woman that was sad and everything. Now, before I even talk about this clip, prior to this particular clip duration or clip segment, they showed the lawyer trying to give this woman ego, trying to boost up her ego. You know, these female type of movies, right? Telling her to dress a different way, wear different clothes that's more open. I'm sure that she's powerful. For some reason, they went for a open bra kind of clothing. I don't know why they did that with painting and stuff like that. Just cringe as fuck, right? That's one of the most cringy parts I saw in the movie. They painted their nails together to show that these guys are like some kind of a sister team that's going to fight against this patriarchal kind of guy. You know how they do these kinds of things. And then they shot the guy like this kind of obnoxious person. Now, fine, okay, it might be an obnoxious individual, but does that mean that she should get more for it? That's the question. You see, all through this movie, they're trying to push the idea that the woman deserves more because the husband is no good kind of person. The woman deserves more because she deserves the revenge, not the justice. She deserves the revenge because the husband has a bad character. He kind of doesn't care about her and he cheated on her, meaning doesn't treat her right. So he cheated on her. So she deserves this revenge. That's what this movie is trying to push. Now, in that clip segment that I mentioned, before, okay, from 37.03, okay, from that segment, right? She's shown confronting the husband, saying that if she had to testify, she would testify that she needs that $2.5 million, blah, 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 right? And the husband's like, why would you want to do that? It's like he boils her off, kind of like bullies her into saying that, into forgetting and losing her confidence. And then this lawyer tells her, come on, you have to fight for this. You are a dignified woman, blah, blah, blah. This woman comes up and gets some courage, stands up and pushes her boobs out for some reason, like chest out or some shit. I don't know what the fuck. Goes up to the husband and confronts him and says, you have to take responsibility for your action because you didn't actually fuck my dog walker, you fucked my sister. I was like, whoa. But and so you have to take the responsibility and pay. That means you have to pay 2.5 million to me because you hurt my feelings. Now, it's a bad person that will fuck your sister. That's a bad person. But should you be paying 2.5 million for that? No. You want to know why? Because if that's the case, the sister should also be paying 2.5 or something similar to that. Because his sister is your blood sister. She knows your husband on a first name basis and she has sex with him. You see, it's very funny how in that same clip, they removed the responsibility from the woman, autonomy from the female perpetrator. Because they put the sister element there because they wanted to make it look shocking, look intense, look that this guy's a piece of shit. But what they did not understand is when they put the idea of this man cheating with a woman's sister, yes, it made the man look like a piece of shit. But the question is, it also made the woman's sister look like the piece of shit as they are. Because she has autonomy. She has a ability to decide not to follow through with the seduction. But they're trying to do this because they just want to make the man look bad, even though the sister was colluding together with the guy to have sex. But it took that information away. To them, it wasn't important that the sister went ahead with it because the sister has no autonomy because she's a woman, right? So if you really wanted revenge money, you should also be going against your sister. Is that fair? I mean, if you want revenge money, you should also be going against your sister. I think that is fair. I think it's unfair for you to just punish one person. Why not just go against this person's, your own sister that betrayed you? Now, do you see where the problem is? Because in that case, a revenge is only towards her husband and not towards her sister. Why? Your sister fucked your husband. She should have to pay some money under your logic. But no, she can do no wrong. The sister she was a helpless female that couldn't resist the guy's advances. Get the fuck out of here. And that's what is wrong with this kind of ideology. The law system is not supposed to be used to rectify cheating or infidelity. It's supposed to be used to rectify decisions to move on. The split. That's what it's supposed to be used for. But you want to weaponize it. And this reminds me of a segment that Amma and Preach had when they talked with the the attorney, one I've forgotten his name. It's a black attorney, right? It's a YouTuber as well, also in the manosphere kind of situation. And the lead attorney, I think that's what it's called, right? And then this guy was talking about the situation whereby a woman that already had was her husband that was a millionaire. Okay, already has a husband as a millionaire, and if I can find the link, I will put it down in the description as well so you can watch it. She already has a husband as a millionaire, but this woman wanted revenge from her ex-husband, so she kept taking him to prison for money that he owed her but he couldn't pay. Right? And she hired this lead attorney to represent her in court. Right? But the guy now discovered that, this man had an accident, took out his jaw in the court system and freaked everybody out, and that's why I couldn't pay. So she kept sending him to prison after he'd been released because he couldn't pay. She sent him back to there. Why? Because she was revengeful. Just because she was vengeful, not because she really needed the money, because again she was married to a millionaire. This is what happens when you weaponize the court system, and this is what happens when movies like this, because there's a lot, these things have happened again and again and again and again and again, right? This is not the first time movies like this are getting this kinds of this is not the first time movies like this are getting this kind of clout, right? Many movies are like this. They push this same logic, this same ideology. It's a terrible ideology. The court system is not supposed to give you revenge. The court system is supposed to give you justice. Irregardless of how you feel. I don't care if you fucked your dog. If it's not against the law, you shouldn't be using that to persecute the dude, right? That's just your feelings. Now, obviously, having sex with a dog is against the law, right? But cheating on a woman, infidelity is not supposed to be persecuted by the court system. The split is supposed to be persecuted by the court system. Okay? Because and trust me, women, y'all don't want that problem. You don't want infidelity to be persecuted by the court system, because it's going to affect a lot of women that are making a lot of money. And I will talk, if you want evidence for that, I will talk about that next time. Trust me, I got a lot of receipts. So I just thought I would talk about this particular type of logic and how this type of propagandous material in movies has been played over and over again and perpetrated like as if it's a correct ideology when it's a terrible ideology. Okay guys, thank you, and I will see you guys later.